So beware what you read, beware about religious scriptures in general. So what I recommend for people to do is when they study religion, and I recommend to you to study, don't just go to someone and take their word for something and just, you know, just read something religious and then adopt it and believe it and just accept what's written in there. That's very, very dangerous to do, okay? Very, very dangerous, and we see this all the time. Now is the time for people to really take a closer look at what religion does. It causes jihads, it causes people to murder their own children. It causes unimaginable suffering. It causes war. It causes atrocities. It causes witch hunts. That's what religion is doing, okay? Religion is insanity. It causes criminal insanity. This is a fact, okay? So question it. Question what you hear. Question what you have been told your entire life, even if it was 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, or 80 years or longer. Okay? It doesn't matter. Just because you've been indoctrinated with this your entire life, and all of your friends and everyone and family and everyone believes it, that still doesn't make it true. Okay? So question these things. Free yourselves, liberate yourselves from this, from those shackles of things that other people have brewed up, that are misunderstandings, that are often fabrications, that are jumbles of fabrications and misunderstandings of the elements and energies, and if they had contact with the other dimensions, which can easily happen due to illnesses. They had plagues in the past. People were in deliriums. They were sick. They had fever. They had migraines. They had all kinds of people had contact with the other dimensions because of the weakened discrimination ribbon, which is, I think, in the limbic system of the brain, somewhere in the middle, near the brain stem. So things get filtered through this, So, and when this filter is weakened, then more stuff comes through into the conscious awareness. And that's how hallucinations come about. And I had a hallucination happen. I had it couple of times, and it was always because I didn't get enough sleep, or I was in tremendous psychological stress, or I had severe fever, in those kind of situations that would temporarily weaken the discrimination ribbon to the point where I would suddenly see these extraterrestrial beings stand there right in front of me. Exactly those things that David Icke has reported about in his. I was really shocked when I look back on those experiences, how they looked exactly like those things that other people have seen as well. And so, this is not something the brain just makes up. It's not. A hallucination is when this filter is disabled, and you get a glimpse through that door of perception into the other dimensions, and you suddenly see that reptile being standing there right in front of you. And when I was 11 years old, that's what happened to me in Kenya. We were on a vacation in Kenya. I had a salmonella infection. I woke up in the middle of the night. I went in the bathroom. I turned the light on, and there right next to the toilet was standing this about 5 foot tall, really thick, like a rubbery reptile man in very bright green with yellow and with scales and all of this, a little bit like this, but wasn't looking friendly, and the face didn't have a long muzzle. Looked just like what Linda Moulton Howe described in her presentations. It was very interesting. So, and one time I saw my boyfriend shapeshift into that being. So I thought that was very peculiar too. So, and it was so frightening. We had to call an ambulance. It was a long time ago in Germany, and they had to send a psychiatrist. He had to give me a sedative. It was really bad. So, because, when I saw my boyfriend shapeshift in front of me, I almost flew through the window because I was so afraid that I shook back towards the window, like I flew backwards, almost broke the window, and just part of the wall buffered me and made me fall off. And then I screamed and just ran out the door, and my boyfriend had to lock himself into the room because he was afraid of me. Oh my gosh, all of these stories, So, yeah, that's what happens when the discrimination ribbon is weakened. We see other dimensions. We see other things, and, our own bodies are, this is what you see on the outside, but, so the energetic being inside, so the soul itself, the astral body that is also there at the same time, or an inside astral body, or energetic energy apparition, that is in us, and there's nothing scary about it. That doesn't mean that this is some kind of evil spirit or something. No, not at all. That boyfriend was the nicest boyfriend I've ever had, back in Germany, among those boyfriends there. That was the nicest German boyfriend I ever had. Very, very kind, caring. And he had some issues, but we all had issues. But caring, and, I could rely on him. So, yeah, so it's not an evil thing. It's not something that David Icke would interpret into it, as in terms of Queen Elizabeth, being a shape-shifting reptile, as David Icke is writing in his books, or accusing everyone of being that. Hillary Clinton, I don't know who else he would accuse, but I think he thinks all the politicians, and then he interprets something bad into it. It's not bad, that's not what's bad. So, matter of fact, it's our 3D way of thinking that brings in the ego and the greed and the fear and all of those kind of things. So, but Apostle Paul, he didn't know what to make out of those apparitions that he encountered, or these ideas or these voices that would talk to him. Those are misinterpretations, and then he'll write this down in a form of more like it's a form of schizophrenia, So he doesn't know what to make out of it. For him, it made him crazy. So that it already started with the mental illness. Then he writes it down, and it's a total misunderstanding. And there are a lot of scholars out there from different religions that said there are truths out there that are very, very powerful, and that the majority of humans are not ready to hear those truths. They will, because they will completely twist these truths around, and that happened. That happened so many times with people going to India, visiting a guru, and the guru may have had some really good insights, maybe, like Nisargadatta Maharaj, for example. But then his disciples, everyone that came to him, I think everyone who has visited him was not able to understand what he's actually saying. So, they will take this out of context, and they will run off with their misunderstandings. They'll run off, they come back to Germany, France, United States, and they'll start preaching this out of context, misunderstood truths, and then it becomes not truth anymore, untruth. And then they start teaching this, and then, people they're all happy to have something like this to run off with and to act out with, and it's just another delusion, and they become delusional. The ego loves that, the ego loves to hear "I am God," but it's an out of context thing, that it's a delusion, So religion is insanity. It teaches insanity. It makes people insane, and it's a misunderstanding. They do go much further than science has figured out right now. That doesn't mean that this, as they call this spiritual world, I stay away from that word, spiritual. The word spiritual has a connotation of, I don't know, it just has a connotation of cheap, fake incense. Yeah, it's just it's not for me, but I know what they mean. They mean the other dimensions. Okay, so I'll just say the other dimensions. And we have other dimensional energies in us too. We're not just this body, okay? Of course, we have a soul, and that thing will merge again with. It can venture away. It can go back into the cosmos, into the Orion Nebula. I don't know, I feel this strong affinity to the Orion Nebula. When I heard that word Orion Nebula, I just knew that there was something about it. It sounded true. So it sounded like maybe that's where I've been before. So, and I'll go again, and Papa Dog and Kenny are there, and the energies will get back together. Once they're outside of the body, they'll suddenly understand all of this. They go like, oh, of course, the whole religious thing was a bunch of quack bullshit. But then, once they realize it's too late, they're no longer in their bodies. Okay. But so that's why I'm saying, why wait until you're out of the body? Why wait until terrible things happen and terrible suffering? So dissolve it now, okay, and learn what is truth. And so there's one statement that I can give you that is absolute truth, and that is love. Unconditional love is truth, and that's the meaning of existence. Okay, you guys take care.